Leadership Intelligence Podcast. My name is Charles Rogel, and joining me today is Matt Wride.
Hi, good morning.
Matt is one of the co-authors of the book, The Employee Experience, How to Attract Talent, Retain Top Performers, and Drive Results. And today we're going to talk about the book, and specifically Chapter 3, which is titled Expectation Alignment Dysfunction. Now, Matt, what did you and Tracy mean by that?
Not sure. No, I think we were kind of making fun of the vast number of pharmaceutical commercials that are on TV.
Right. Which have some kind of dysfunction or disease that you probably have.
They're happy people walking around with apparently a pretty bad disorder. It's just kind of, I don't know. At some point, those commercials become a little irritating. But.
Well, and the example you use to kind of illustrate this is Amazon.
Yeah. Well, we use Amazon to illustrate when expectations are aligned.
Okay.
And we contrast that with, interestingly, a subsidiary of Amazon, Zappos, and what happens when expectations are thrown out the door. Not that Zappos won't eventually align the expectations, but they made a bold step when they announced holacracy, which is this management theory where you break down all kind of sense of command and control. There's no hierarchy.
It's just a flat organization.
It's just completely flat, and everyone works on what they want to work on, and to some extent. I mean, I don't want to paint it as just everyone shows up and does whatever they feel like, but there's not a chain of command. There's not a strata of perceived rank or title or any of that. That's all gone away with. And whereas Amazon has sort of it's like a machine. It's well-oiled, it's operating efficiently, and people who join Amazon, they know exactly what they're getting.
Okay.
There is expectation alignment. They know it's going to be difficult and demanding. At the same time, they're going to get good experience. They're going to get a valuable bullet point on their resume, and so there is alignment there. And when you show with Zappos, it's just kind of we're having to wait and see whether that type of experiment works.
So even though the culture or the atmosphere at Amazon might be described as Darwinistic, where it's only the best survive and it's not very friendly maybe in some people's minds, it still works because people get the contract there.
Right, and is anybody surprised that it's kind of a cutthroat? I mean, we all know that. And so that's the point, is that you sign up for that. I don't think if you're one who wants to work at the library from 9 to 5, I don't think Amazon's a place for you.
Yeah.
And I think you know that and they know that. I think they've done a pretty good job making sure that's clear.
So when describing or talking about expectation alignment, you talk about 6 pillars, and I'll just read them off here: fairness, clarity, empathy, predictability, transparency, and accountability.
Yeah, these are guidelines to make your communications more effective. It's a way to, for example, empathy, considering the needs of another, putting yourself into their shoes. If you will adopt these guidelines or follow them to the extent possible, it will enrich the experience, and it will make for a communication experience where there is alignment.
Okay.
If you, for example, back to my pillar, empathy, if you have no empathy for your employees or how they feel, then it's just going to be mandates and orders, and you're not going to have any alignment. It's just one-sided, unilateral. And
so, conversely, with those 6 pillars, there's also a set of symptoms of expectation alignment dysfunction.
Yeah, this is, if you've noticed any of these things, you should consult your doctor. That's what this list is.
So these ones are lack of clarity, inconsistency, over-promising, asymmetrical expectations, I don't know if I have that one, secrecy, and then unchecked rumors.
Right. So this is an idea: is if you sit down and you want to evaluate, how am I doing in my organization or in my team? How are we at aligning expectations? If you see any of these, then you need to dig further, and you need to understand and take stock whether you have to do something, and how well are you doing with the 6 pillars that we talked about. So over-promising, for example, is there a constant kind of series of complaints that we do, that the company is always promising but never delivering? Well, if you hear that a lot, you have expectation alignment dysfunction, and the cure, unfortunately, isn't a pill, and it certainly isn't just take a quick training course, but it's a lot of work at examining each of your relationships and going through and spending time with each person to orient them in a way that starts to align them with the broader mission and purposes of that team or of that organization as a whole.
Which has a direct impact on their performance. Once they're aligned, then they can truly deliver.
Yeah, I mean, the premise is it isn't so much what the expectations are. That's less important than whether their expectations are aligned.
Okay.
Right? So if you go to Amazon and you buy a camera, say you've been wanting a digital SLR for a long time, and you buy a camera it's got some Taiwanese name, and you don't know, some manufacturer, unknown manufacturer, and it's $29, okay? And you buy it and you get it and it breaks the next day. Are you as upset as if you had spent $1,200 on a Canon?
Not at all.
Why?
Because you didn't expect much from it in the first place.
Your expectations were aligned.
Yeah.
You were willing to spend $29 on the product because you're like, I don't know, maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. But when you had spent $1,200 on a Canon, you were expecting quality and that brand to deliver on a reputation. And so really it's all about whether the expectations were met and aligned. That was the difference between how you would feel about both same exact fact scenario.
Yeah.
Buy a camera and it breaks, but a lot different in how you feel about it.
Different feelings. Well, Matt, thanks very much for a brief overview of Chapter 3 of the book, The Employee Experience. Chapter 3 was about expectation, alignment, dysfunction. You can get a copy of The Employee Experience at Amazon or any other bookseller, and the book is published by Wiley & Sons.